One of the biggest levers you can pull in your business if you have a phone-based sales team to close more deals is actually just going to be getting more people on the phone or increasing your show-up rates, decreasing your no-show rates. And the phone-based sales funnel has been around for quite some time, especially in the coaching and consulting industry. I've been in it for 6 years now. I've worked with hundreds of coaches and consultants, some businesses doing well over $100 million a year. And I've been able to see what these processes look like in order to get more people to show up for your sales calls from industry to industry, niche to niche. The strategies that we're going to talk about in this video of what to do and what not to do are tried, tested, and true across all of these industries. And if you implement them in your business, I can promise you, you will see higher show-up rates for your sales calls. Not only will you see higher show-up rates, but you'll see more engaged prospects and you're going to see more deals coming across the line. But first, my name is Sam Queen. Some people like to call me the Close Doctor, and I help service-based businesses with high-ticket offers scale to 7 and 8 figures using my systems-based selling strategies. I call myself a sales operator. I am most certainly not a sales manager. A sales manager has a relationship with the person and the skill. A sales operator has a relationship with the data in the sales process. Combined together, you have a dynamic duo that can be very powerful. So if you're looking for a sales operator to sit within your business to help solve problems like how to get more people to show up for your sales calls, I'll leave a link down in the description below to book a call with me or someone on my team. What are show up rates or no show rates, and why should you be tracking them? For me, I'm always tracking a no show rate instead of a show up rate. That is just the lingo, the language that I've been used to. And a no show rate is made up of canceled calls, rescheduled calls, and calls that do not show up. So the collective of those canceled, no-show, and reschedule calls, or I say NCR for no-show, cancel, reschedule, the collective of those would be the numerator. The denominator would be the total of your book calls, and then that would make up your no-show rate. Now, 6 years ago when I got into this industry, I was operating off of a VSL funnel with an opt-in page, the video sales letter or case study itself, then either an application page or a schedule page, and then a confirmation page. And back then, 20% no-show rate was pretty industry standard, industry average. 20% was okay. Facebook was still a little bit of the Wild West. These VSL funnels were still somewhat new. Yes, they've been around for quite some time. I think Sam Ovens from consulting.com and my business partner, Nick Fisher, really helped pioneer putting that funnel into this industry. And now you see it everywhere. I still run VSL funnels in many of my offers to this day. But I've seen that funnel over time go from 20% no-show rates to 30% no-show rates to 40% no-show rates to now sometimes 50%, depending on the business. We're looking at 50% no-show rates and we're comparing that week over week and we're saying, gosh, that's an okay number, which is unbelievable because that should not be an okay number. 50% of your calls not showing up is actually doubling the amount you're spending for a call to show up. So imagine a world where you can go from a 50% no-show rate to a 40% no-show rate. That is going to increase your amount of revenue, assuming the same close rate, by 20%. So if you're doing $100,000 a month, just by decreasing your no-show rate from 50% to 40%, you can do an additional $20,000 in revenue a month. And why this is such an important stat to track is because it's going to tell you the quality of not only your marketing messaging, but the quality of your sales motion itself and getting people to actually show up for the call. And I track this week over week, every single week. And of course, we're always looking for those numbers to go down. There is a point in time where your no-show rate cannot go down any further. If you're running cold traffic right now and you say without knowing your offer, you say you have a 20% no-show rate, trying to pull the lever to go from 20% down to 15% is actually not a 5% difference, but a 25% difference. Trying to pull that lever and figure out how to move that needle may not be as beneficial as some of the other levers that you can pull in your business to make more money. And in that example, going from 20% no-show down to 15% no-show is actually going to only increase your top line revenue by 6%. Depending on the size of the business that you're running, that could be a very big needle mover. If you're doing $1 million a month or $1 million a week, that is a large sum of money, but there might be better places for you to put your attention. As long as you're implementing the strategies that I'm going to cover in this video, I can assure you you're doing close to every single thing that you can, because I have done this time and time again over hundreds of businesses teaching these exact strategies. So first, let's talk about what not to do and what does not work to increase your show up rates for your sales calls. Number one, trusting the process. Trusting that if someone booked a sales call with me, they're just going to show up. They put in their email. I'm sure it's on their calendar. I'm sure it's important to them. I'm sure they're going to be there for the call. If you are running cold traffic, that is absolutely not the case. Me and my calls for Close Doctor, we actually don't run any cold traffic. Everything we get is warm and organic. Maybe you will book a call with me from this YouTube video, link down in the description below. Don't hurt my show up rates if you do book a call. And my show up rates are 90%, or my no-show rates are 5 to 10%. They are incredibly low because I have an incredibly high intent audience. But if you're running cold traffic and spending hundreds or thousands of dollars a day on your Facebook ads, you're going to see a much higher no-show rate. So if you just trust the process, you just trust that person saw a Facebook ad and they got triggered enough by the marketing message, and maybe they watched the case study, maybe they didn't. Hopefully you're tracking those metrics and pulling that information into your CRM. I can assure you that the process isn't that good. Your marketing message probably wasn't that good to where that cold traffic, that cold audience that has no idea who you are is actually just going to show up to their call. So trusting the process is a very good way to not increase your show up rates. The second way to ensure that you will not see higher show up rates is relying on calendar automations themselves. So maybe you're using OneSub, maybe you're using Calendly, maybe you're using Acuity. All of these scheduling tools have features that you can set to send 24-hour reminders, 12-hour reminders, 1-hour reminders. They can send via email oftentimes. Oftentimes they can send from a text message as well. But that text message is one of those 6-digit text message codes. It's not coming from you. It's not coming from you as the salesperson or as the business owner. It looks like an automation because it is an automation, and automated messages do not touch people in the heart. They do not meet people where they're at. So if you're relying on your calendar automations alone, whether it be text or email, that's another good way to ensure that you will not see higher show up rates. I'm not saying don't use those or don't have those in your motion, but if that is the only thing that you are doing to increase your show up rates, you will not see increased show up rates. The third way that I can promise you will not see higher show up rates is by putting in your application or by putting on your schedule page or by putting somewhere in your funnel a line like, do you promise to show up to your call? Yes or no? That is friction. All that question does is add friction. It's another box that someone has to check to book their call. And if you're running at a very high scale, every single box or every single click that someone has to make in that process of booking a call is more friction that's actually going to lead to less book calls. That reminder of, yes, I promise to show up, 100% of people, if you are asking that question right now, I bet your stats show that 100% of people check that box. But if 100% of people check that box, why do you not have 100% show up rate? Because that question does nothing to increase your show up rates. If you have it in your funnel, remove it and you'll actually see more book calls by doing so. The fourth way to ensure that you do not see higher show up rates is by texting people after they book, hey, I got your call booked. Are we good for the time that you booked? Please confirm your appointment. And they reply back, yes. Cool. If that appointment is 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever 72 plus 24 is, 96 hours away, or even further away, that text message, especially if it's automated, and that one response that you get is not locking someone in. Once again, it's not meeting them where they're at. It's not reaching their heart. It's not getting that commitment from that individual that they're actually going to be there. If that text, and the one that I just read out, sounds very automated, it sounds very copy and paste, if the end user on the other end of the phone feels that, they'll give you that one word response of yes. A lot of people feel that that's automated and don't reply at all because they think it's just an automation and not another person sitting on the end of the phone. So when I get to what to do with that text on the 5 ways that you can increase your show up rates, I'll frame how pre-call conversations will actually result in more confirmations and you'll see a higher show up rate. And the last way to ensure you do not see higher show up rates, or the fifth point I would like to make here, is by incentivizing people with a gift card or a free coffee. Hey, will you show up to your appointments? We will give you a free coffee, or we will buy you lunch. If you are selling something, a high ticket product or service, and your market is a high value individual, the commitment of getting 30 minutes of their time, 45 minutes of their time, an hour of their time in exchange for a $5 coffee or in exchange for a $20 lunch, personally for me, my time is worth a little bit more than that. And that's not going to get me there. That's not going to get me on that call. There are resources. There probably are some incentives that would be attractive enough for sure to get someone on a call. But your $5 gift card or your $20 lunch is not going to increase your show up rates for your business. My apologies if you felt attacked by any of those strategies and you're currently doing those in your business. But right now, we're going to talk about the 5 strategies that you can use, that you can implement today inside of your business in order to increase your show up rates and close more deals. One of the easiest ways, the first way to increase your show up rate, is actually by showing enough availability. If you only have a sales team that works on the East Coast, but you run ads to all of the United States, or even worse, if you run ads to the United States and maybe Australia, but your sales reps only work on East Coast times, you're not giving people that are coming through your funnel enough availability to actually book and find a time that works for you. So a couple ways you can address this is by hiring more sales reps that work in different time zones. You can also, I like to add maybe a piece of copy or a type form at the bottom of a booking page that says like, don't see a time that works, fill out this application here and we'll reach out to you. Or you can just work longer hours. If you're a smaller business and you're maybe owner-led, operator-led sales, just open up your calendar and give yourself the time and space for people to book. More availability, though, is not necessarily always a good look. If you offer 30-minute time slots and someone gets to your schedule page and they see 40 different available slots that they can book, it's not a very high status thing on your page. You look of lower status because it looks like your availability is whenever. And if your availability is whenever, you seem not busy. It seems like you're not an attractive person or an attractive offer to talk about. So I know in Calendly, I definitely know in OneSub, you can say the amount of time slots you want to show on any given day. I believe I set that around like 8 to 12. And then depending on who's coming through the funnel, it'll show 8 to 12 different slots for the various time zones across all of your sales reps, giving people the options. Not only is that going to increase your show up rates, but it's going to get you more book calls. Many people will go through funnels and not book calls at all because they don't see a time that works for them. So make sure you're providing enough availability and you'll see higher show up rates. The number 2 way you can increase show up rates and close more deals for your business is going to be by having pre-call conversations. I coined this maybe 5 years ago, and I'll say it across all my businesses, my friends, my colleagues, my employees say this now. They know this is very, very important. We set our CRMs and design our CRMs to operate this way and our automations to operate this way. If you're looking for that in your business, link down below to book a call with me and someone on my team. But the point I'm trying to make here with pre-call conversations over confirmations is that it's one thing in the last example to get someone to say, yes, I am good for that time. It's completely different if you can have a full-blown conversation with that lead before they ever show up to their appointment. There's a chance in that conversation you can completely triage them to the point of understanding whether or not you even need to get on that phone call. It's another way you'll increase your show up rates. If you're able to triage someone via text message and understand they're not qualified based on text alone, you can open that time slot up for a more qualified lead to book. So what does having a pre-call conversation look like and why is it important? The conversation piece is inciting a response. Your conversions, I'll say this all the time as well, your conversions are actually going to happen inside of your conversations. If you're selling something on the phone, you need to have a conversation with someone in order to collect their credit card information. If you have a cart checkout, maybe you don't need that in your business. But for me and my businesses, especially my offer Close Doctor and our fractional sales operator as a service, no one can sign up for this without me talking to them because I want to make sure, of course, I'm working with the right clients and qualified clients. So to incite that conversation, we just want a response. So if you're selling a real estate offer, hey, contact name, lead owner name with with company name, got your call booked, looking forward to connecting. Are you currently a real estate investor, or are you looking to just get started? That is a very different text message and a very different tone versus, hey, can you confirm your appointment for this time and date? This one sounds super automated. This other one is automated. Yes, we still build our initial text to be an automation, but it's inciting a response. You're getting a conversation started. That person says, I'm just getting into real estate. Oh, cool. How long have you been looking at getting into real estate? I've been looking at getting into real estate for 2 years. What do you do for a living right now? I work a 9 to 5. What stopped you from getting into it over the last 2 years? This and that. What have you done to try and get into real estate over the last 2 years? You can have that full-blown sales conversation. Take people through your sales framework inside of text message triages themselves. And that conversation is getting more buy-in, more commitment from that lead. You're going to see higher show up rates. So make sure that first text that you're sending out is inciting a response. You want people to reply to you so we can start a conversation, whether it be 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, or 72 plus 24 hours, 96 hours away from their call time. Keep that conversation going all the way up until the appointment time. You will see higher show up rates. A third very powerful way to increase your show up rates, I filmed a couple different videos on this channel about this. I'll put them on the screen here. How to get the best leads is very 30,000 foot overview on a building lead scoring models. I'll link a resource down in the description below that you can grab on how to build better application questions so you can see better show up rates and build lead scoring models. And another video I filmed on here, how to 5x your show up rates or how to 5x your conversion rates. It's an actual case study, real life case study where I'll show you real numbers. It's one of the most powerful videos I've ever watched. If you have a VSL funnel, make sure you definitely check that video out. But lead scoring models and asking the right questions and then building, whether it be very simple models based on the data, if you have a leading indicator that says someone's propensity to show up, or building very complex Python regression models where you're actually assigning correlation coefficients to each question and answer, can tell you who's going to show up for their call. I'll put a confusion matrix on your screen here. Data scientists will use confusion matrices. They are very confusing. And what a confusion matrix does is will actually tell you this lead is supposed to show up and sign up, and this percent of the model is accurate. This lead is not supposed to show up, but they still will sign up, and this percent of the model is accurate. This lead is whatever other 2 answer choices I didn't say. I think you get the point. This confusion matrix is actually mapping your data and telling you the accuracy of your model. And based on those questions and answers, if you build a very accurate lead scoring model, you have the right data, you have enough data, you work with a very smart person to build the model, you can increase your show up rates just by routing people down the path that makes the most sense to them. We always want to meet people where they're at inside of sales conversations. Not every single person should be on the phone. Sometimes business owners will have triage calls and sales calls. Not every single person needs a triage call before a closing call. In many cases, business owners are prolonging their sales process longer than they actually need to be because they have triage calls in place when they don't need it in the first place. So make sure you're taking people down the path of least resistance. The less resistance that you have in your process will increase your show up rates, and custom lead scoring models can help you get there. The fourth way you will see higher show up rates is by utilizing a CRM where you can actually build the automations for those text messages, for those pre-call conversations to come from the sales rep's phone number themselves. So I mentioned in what not to do, do not rely on calendar automations and integrations alone to increase your show up rates. So what to do is you want the sales rep to be sending that reminder. I use close.com as my CRM. We also use HubSpot inside of other businesses. If you're looking for your HubSpot account to be built, link down in the description to book a call with me or someone on my team. And by sending the text message from the sales rep themselves, it feels less automated. That's a 10-digit phone number versus a 6-digit phone number. And we get to actually start that conversation from there as long as you have good sales copy that you're using inside of that messaging. Sales copy and marketing copy are very, very different. Remember that. And when you are writing sales copy, you don't want to sound like a salesperson, especially if it's coming across in text messages. Think about how you text your mom or text your friend. That's the same way in many, many cases that you can text your prospects. Just have a conversation with them. It's text. You don't need to be super formal. Hey, John, hyphen, and then sign off with a signature at the end of it. It's a text message. They're supposed to be quick. They have really high open rates. It's really easy for people to reply. And by sending that text message, having that pre-call conversation from the sales rep themselves will lead to higher show-up rates for your business. And the fifth and final way I've seen higher show-up rates for people in their high-ticket businesses is by getting more commitment, or by getting people to take the next step. In all of our businesses, we send out what we call pre-call homework. To be honest, I don't love that we call it homework, because I think homework triggers something in people's minds about going back to school. But we send a pre-call homework. It's just pre-call information, pre-call resources that we want them to either watch. Maybe it's a workbook. We want them to start thinking about certain questions or thinking about certain possibilities on what they want to cover on the call, or what they know their goals in their life. So they have all that information coming into the call. Maybe we want them to check out a podcast. Maybe we want them to check out an additional YouTube video. If you book a call with me and Close Doctor, I'll send you a link to show you what a sales operator is and how we actually work with businesses. If you get that context before coming to the call, you've spent another 5, 10, 15 minutes getting indoctrinated to me, my brand, my personality, and we get to build that relationship a little bit deeper. We get to build that connection a little bit deeper. So by getting people to take the next step after they book the call, to go one step further, to raise their hand a little bit higher, you're going to get a deeper level of commitment from that individual. And in return, because they feel like they have essentially more of a sunk cost when it comes to showing up to the call, they've invested more time. Now that call is more important to them. You're going to see higher show up rates for your business. That's it from me, gang. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said at the beginning, this is a massive lever that you can pull inside of your business. If you're at a 50% no-show rate and you go down to a 40% no-show rate, you will make 20% more money in your business by spending the same amount of money on the front end. All of these strategies are tried, tested, and true across many different industries, many different niches, whether it be coaching, consulting, agency, software, real estate, mortgage, insurance. You too can implement them in your business. A CRM will make that a lot easier for you, especially if you're running at any sort of scale with your sales team, or you have sales reps on your sales team that you manage. A CRM like Close.com, like HubSpot, can help facilitate that process a lot easier for you. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below what you want to see next. Thanks.